turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands, and on we'll go.
G'day everybody, Seano here, and thought we'd jump on and do a bit of a live video, see who's out there in the community. Probably shouldn't start on that screen. There we go. So if you're out there, come and say g'day. If you're watching this video in the future, don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get up to 300 subscribers before the end of the season. Give me a like, hit that notification bell, all that business. Do that, and hopefully we can all have a good time today. So if you missed my other two videos, go back and check out my trade time video and my review video. Both good ones this week. And this, as we'll do a bit of a recap just in case you have missed. We got a score of 1917, not too bad considering the carnage that was this round. Saw a lot of other content creators get around there or less, so not too unhappy. And we see some green arrows, which we are very happy about. We haven't seen many green arrows during the buys. Actually, we've seen none for about the last 5 weeks. So I know we only went up 678 places, which takes us to a rank of 10,083, but we're almost back inside that top 10,000. And we're probably going to set our sights on maybe the top 5,000 for the end of the season. I don't know if that's going to be achievable, but we're going to try it anyway. So yeah, moved up in the ranking. That's good. We won our league match against one of the better league players. So we can have a quick look at that if we like. So we moved up to 5th, I think, in the big league. Yep, 5th. We beat Master Beta here, who's moved down to 4th. Sorry about that, Jace. And puts me on 40 points, but I'm also, there's 5th, 6th and 7th are all on 40 points. So it only would take one loss, and I could potentially drop out of the 8. And then behind that, there's 2 people on 36. So we still need to keep on winning. This week's matchup, I haven't even checked out this week's matchup. Let's have a quick look at this week's matchup. We're playing my mate Beer Bandits, Dan, and we're predicted to win, but he probably hasn't adjusted his team back yet. Yeah, he's still got to put all his players back on the field, so it's not a good idea on if we're going to win or not. Armentha, who the hell is Armentha, Dan? Who's this guy? This guy even play? Nope, he must have just got himself a 99k rookie for the sake of it, to make some money. Fair enough, people out there are going to be doing that. I guess before we get a few people here chatting, we can talk a little bit about my plans for the week. I'll get rid of that rivalry, that's just our mate. My plans for the week, well, trading is going to be pretty easy. No trades. Considering we've only got 4 trades left, we're just going to do no trades. I think 4 is not enough. I hear a lot of people saying that they think that's enough. I think it's very risky to go on and start trading when you've only got 4 trades left. I would prefer to have at least 6, even 1 per game left. There's 8 games left. I'd like 8 trades. That might be a bit too much to ask, but I think that would be a really good situation coming out of the buys. 6, I think, is cutting it fine, and 4, well, it's just a disaster waiting to happen. So if you're going in with less than 4, it's been a rough season, I understand it. I would love to make some more trades, but we just can't do it, especially considering we're focusing on our leagues. So with that in mind, we're going to need some trade when it comes to those league finals. Best bet is to try and get into the finals in the top 8. And then if there's any disasters like injuries or stuff, we can use those trades. If we have a bit of luck and there's no disasters between now and the league finals, well then maybe we can consider trading and trying to upgrade the team a little bit. I know what I would like to do. I'll show you a quick, if I could, I know what I would like to do. You know, if in an ideal world, if I had more trades this week, I'd get the Taru guy for what was I going to do? I was going to trade out Sheezel and go up to someone who could cover me up forward. Is that what I was going to do? I've forgotten now. But yeah, I had a plan if I had trades, but the comes down to we just don't have trades. And this could be a rough week with Whitfield and possibly Sheasel, even though they say Sheasel's not going to play. Out. Whitfield's definitely out, won't be playing this week, didn't recover from his concussion in time. So going to have to put Clark on from the bench. And then if Sheasel goes out, we're going to have to take Johnson, our only two playing rookies at the moment. So could be a rough week if both of those things happen. One of the solutions was to get the Taru guy, Alexander, however you say he's Alexander, spelt in a very interesting way. Taru for maybe Sims or Simpson, and then I could have swapped him with Gray to provide some coverage for me. But, you know, I just don't feel like even doing that trade. What if he gets dropped in a couple of weeks' time or whatever? I think it's better off for me just to keep the 4 trades, and if Primo goes down for more than a couple of weeks, we'll just do straight Primo to Primo. And if that doesn't happen, or people like Whitfield, who I'm assuming are only going to be out for 1 week, if he... I'm going to keep players if they're only out for 1 or 2 weeks, and we'll just put the rookie on the field and deal with it. But yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit rough coming into the finals. Now, hopefully, at some point, this maybe Johnson and Clark go up in money. We can maybe 250, 300k each if we get lucky. We get a 99k rookie for one. You know, then we get 100 and we can afford a 300k player who can be our 23rd. Someone with a bit of DPP who can cover us, you know, in a couple of positions. That's the dream. I don't know if the dream's going to happen. It's going to be a rough end of the season, I would think. Are we going to gain or drop places? I'm not sure. If we keep getting these injuries, we'll definitely drop. If we have to play 1 rookie, if not 2 rookies, this week, it's probably not going to be a great week for us. Hopefully, we got McCarthy there in the flex too, which I think at the moment is a very valid 23rd player. He's outperforming some of my primos even after 2 games. So until we see something that says he's not going to continue in that role and perform reasonably well, we're just going to keep him there. Obviously at 99k, that's a big advantage that we've had him come along at this time of the season. Did we say Pime? I think we said Pime. You know what happens when Seano screws up English.
Me fail English? That's impossible.
Yes, Ralph Wiggum, we failed English again. Should we hear it again?
Me fail English? That's impossible.
Is that too loud for you guys? Maybe turn it down a little bit. So, yep, and then since we're having a bit of fun, we might as well say I think if you're trading, I think it might be, for me, it could be a little bit of this. Trading this week could be a trap, and I think every round now, from now on, is going to be...
When I'm in command, every mission's a suicide mission.
Yes, Zap Brannigan, every round from now on is going to be a suicide mission. So how did you guys go coming out of the buys? Let me know your current round rank, how you went. Did you move up? Did you move down? Was that last round a disaster like it was for a lot of people? I think while we're waiting for some people to turn up and have a chat, let's have a look. I'm not too sure if the teams have come out yet for tomorrow night. Probably not just yet. Let me know if you guys see the teams come out. How about the injury list? Injury list came out yesterday. We're recording this or doing the live stream as of Wednesday evening. A lot of you crew might just be getting home from work, so I hope you had a good day at work. So Adelaide, Matt Crouch back in 2 to 3 weeks. So Luke Pedler had a corked quad and is a test. So whether he even makes it back in the team or not, even if he's okay, is a different story. Kitty Coleman, 1 to 2 weeks, just in case you might need a cheapo defender in a couple of weeks. Now, I dropped my trades last week. I dropped Matt Carroll, just because he was dropped out of the Carlton team, and I was a bit worried that he wasn't going to make it back in the team. So I dropped him. Season seed 2 to 4 weeks for Harry McKay. Hudson O'Keefe 1 to 2. Sard's out for 1 to 2 weeks, so maybe that means Carroll comes back potentially if he's a bit lucky. 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks for Sam Walsh. So what about, does Collingwood have anybody? Oh, that Charlie West, he played his first game and got injured. That's a poor bit of bad luck for him. That was right, he had his first game and kicked his first kick was a goal. That's that guy, right? Bit unfortunate for the young man. Alright, Saad El Halouli. This one is relevant to me. Hopefully he gets named. Hopefully he passes his test and gets named. And then that gives me a tiny bit of bench coverage. Whether it will or not, who knows. Darcy Parish calf to be confirmed, so he could be out for a while. Zach Reed could potentially come back. Jordan Ridley could potentially come back. So Essendon's going to be very interesting when the team sheets come out. How's this going to affect all our rookies? It could literally mean that I have no playing rookies on the bench if both Clark and Johnson were dropped. So we have to keep an eye out for that. Okay, Freo, Nat Fyfe injured again. He only played for 10 minutes, so you know that's hard to do. Hayden Young comes back in a couple of weeks. Not too much relevant there. Not too much relevant for Geelong as far as I can tell. Not too much relevant for Gold Coast. Now I think GWS has a few interesting ones. I thought I saw that. No, yeah, Whitfield is out, but I also saw that Josh Kelly might be available, which could mean some issues for that rookie, what's his name? The Rowson, I believe it is. The GWS rookie. If you were thinking about getting him in this week, maybe keep a good eye on the team sheets because, yeah, if Josh Kelly does play. Josh Kelly didn't play last week, right? Let's have a quick look. Hey, have you guys noticed, you guys using Fan Footy out there, that Fan Footy now... Oh, he didn't play last week. Okay, so the week before, I'm not too sure. But if you notice, so we go to Freo St Kilda, that it now gives you... Maybe you have to do full screen. There you go. You get a heat map. Automatic heat map. That's pretty cool, eh? So just like a DFS, but it just comes up when you do it. Pretty nice. I like it. I like it. Well done, Fan Footy. Good to see you using a few, getting some, you know, new innovations into your site. I like it. Okay, so what were we saying? Oh, Ralston, yeah. So keep an eye out for Ralston. Maybe, I mean, with Whitfield out, maybe he keeps his spot this week. Even though Whitfield's playing back and he seems to be a more midfield player. But if you get him in this week, he looked pretty reliable and he looks pretty good. But also you got Stephen Cornelio coming in with a test. If all these guys, you assume when Cornelio's ready, he's come back into the team. Briggs could come back, which could mean problems for Madden if you got him. So, you know, there's a lot of people coming back into this team. So who knows what's happening there. Will Day, 3 to 4 weeks. Sicily's a test. If you had Sicily, you're holding him. You know, you're thinking about getting him. Not that I really advise that, but yeah. So back potentially a test. Nothing for Melbourne of reference. Doesn't look like any North Melbourne. Luke Parker has a soreness, so he may not play. Hopefully George Wardlaw with a concussion. If he doesn't play, maybe that means Harry Sheasel gets a bit more time in the middle. That'd be nice. Less forward, more in the guts, please, for Sheasel after his 60, very disappointing 60 score. Campbell Gray, 1 to 2 weeks. Hopefully gets a game when he comes back. Tom Lynch suspended to round 22. Did I miss something? What the hell did Tom Lynch do to get rubbed out for that long? You guys, oh, Jaden Short's come back. Somebody tell me, what did Tom Lynch do to get rubbed out for that long? We'll grab a drink. Sorry about that. Not much relevant there. Tyrell Dewey, if you got him, he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Treelaw's out for the season pretty much, for 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah, so some interesting stuff there, crew. Not too much going on. That GWS one, I think is the GWS and the Essendon one are probably the most relevant, right? The Essendon to see who comes back and to see if we keep our rookies. I mean, it could be a disaster for me, like if Clark got dropped or if Johnson got dropped. It just means no coverage for me, and it makes it less likely that Sard comes back for me. So, going to be a rough trip to the end of the season, I think, for myself. Yeah, so might not be the best options. So you want to have a bit of a look at the team while we're waiting to see if anybody rolls up. Team had some pretty average scores by some primos, but you know. So we got 117 out of Nasiah, Wangan and Malera, 99 out of Daily Dale, which was okay. I don't know. I'd like to hear you guys' opinion. I didn't get to see this game, but there was a lot of talk about the ground and how slippery it was and everything. And so I gave these Bulldogs and Sydney players a break, but nobody else seems to be doing that in Supercoach. Everyone else seems to be bagging them for their low scores. Was it the ground, or did people like Mills just play average? And I know Darcy was on 60 at half time and failed to get any more, and Bont had a terrible game again because I put him as vice captain, obviously. So, you know, was the ground a big influence, or did they just not have great games? So we get Zorko back this week, that's night. Mills had a 56. I was, like I said, I was putting it down to the ground, but maybe he just had a bad game. I still think in that position he can score well. I wouldn't be getting rid of him. I'd even be considering getting him in if you needed a cheap player. Clark, he's going to be on the field this week. Should be Whitfield, but Whitfield's injured, so hopefully Clark is not dropped. If Clark is dropped, we could be down to no flex player. Then we might have to think about what we are going to do. Hey, Paris, how you going, buddy? Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. How was your week? I already had a sneaky look at your team, I have to admit, mate. But you moved up a little bit, didn't you? Hope you're doing well on this Wednesday evening for you. And for, well, it's not evening, for still afternoon for me. For the rest of the team, go through it quickly and then we'll have a chat to Paris, who is doing very well. Was in the top 50. Hey Matthew, how are you? Good to see you as well. What does this crown option mean? Top fans. Oh, you both got top fan options, or emotes, or whatever you want to call them. Good to see you both. Thanks for dropping by. I think I had a chat to both you guys in the in chat of my videos, didn't I? 116 now. Marshall saved your backside. Yeah, well, I traded him the other week, so you can thank me for that, Paris. Getting rid of him. He is on fire, and he's got a nice looking run for the rest of the season. So hopefully he can keep that up for you, buddy. We'll just finish off my team, and then we'll go through a quick look at yours. And Matthew, if you want to have a look at your team as well, just shoot the name out up there, and we'll have a look at yours as well. So quickly, we had Butters, got my second high score. Brayshaw, bit down on 84. Dacos was my captain, which was good. Rao, 147, who's doing legendary work for me. Bont, God, yeah, Bont's giving me the shits. Bont is driving me up the wall. Cadwell, back this week, hopefully he does well. Sheasel, well down, it was just a very average role. He's going to be up and down, played more forward than mid this week. Doherty, 103, very happy with him since I got him in. Gawn and Sherry both a bit down, but we'll take it. Gawn's probably would have liked 100 for a player worth that much. Sherry 111. Bailey Smith's back this week. Petrarca good. Darcy let down. Daniel, Warner, Rankin, and the good old McCarthy. How good is he? I'm doing the Lord's work. I am doing the Lord's work. So the Lord's work, let's see. You want me to do some more work for you? Who are you guys vice-captaining this week? So, Bont or Sherry for me, right? In that first game. Or Sherry. Who gets the vice-captain? Who do you want me to pick as vice-captain to do you a favour, and then you can pick the opposite person to get 100? Like, I don't know. Every time I say I didn't trust Bont, he got 177 last time. So we gave him the vice-captain this week and he got a 63. You know, he's really punishing us. He really, really is punishing us. Yeah, I was tempted to go that way as well. I'm even tempted to go Sherry and DeGorn. Just go back to the big boy combo. I was thinking, because who does Gorn play? Gorn plays it's Gorn up against Riley O'Brien. So I was thinking maybe that was the way. I'm a bit like, I don't know if I can trust Bont. I might have to screw it up for you. At least I won't pick I'm not going Smith though. I'm not going to go Smith. So not Gorn. Why not Gorn? It's only Riley O'Brien. He should dominate, right? Adelaide Oval. I know he's had a couple of down weeks, but I feel like he's due for a bounce back. The only other ones I like, I don't think I'll go Brayshaw at the SCG. Sinclair's been too risky. Butters against Brisbane, maybe they put, someone like Dunkley kind of runs with him a little bit or something. I mean, Geelong versus Richmond, yeah, that is a good matchup. It is a good matchup. And I don't have home, so I only have the option of going Smith. I don't know. I don't mind going. Every time I say this, Paris, you're always right, so I should just go with whatever you say. But normally you're just correct with whatever you say. What did you say the other week? And I was like, nah, that's not going to happen, and it happened straight away. And I was like, let's see how he goes against Riley O'Brien. He's got a 129, a 120, and a 124 in his last 3 games against him. I think that's reasonable. Who played Adelaide last week? Hey, do you guys like the new heat map on Fan Footy? Pretty cool. Riley O'Brien. He played Nank got a 98 against him, 32 hit outs. Riley O'Brien got 42 hit outs, 10 handballs, 17 possessions. I don't know. He did play terrible. Well, Witts played well. I don't know. Did he play terrible or did Witts play well? We knew he was going to have a bad game against Witts. His stats and his record showed that he had a bad game. He always has a bad game against Witts. So do most ruckmen. I still might risk it. Got to run some risks. Gorner's the one that got me in the position of getting up to my 2,500 score. Since then, we've just been plummeting. All except this week, where Seano saw some green arrows. For the first time in a long time, we saw some green arrows and we moved up in the rankings. Haven't got to say that very often, so we didn't move a lot up, but we moved up more than what we could. And if we had picked Bont as the captain, not the week last week, but the week before, we could have potentially moved up a few thousand. Paris, I should trust you because you're always right, but I still might have a swing at Gone. I'm hoping that Sherry just comes out, smashes a 130 plus, and then we don't have to think about it. Okay, I'm going to say I don't trust Bont, so everyone that picks Bont's going to get a big score. What's with that really up and down? I asked this before you guys jumped on. The Sydney and the Bulldogs players, the low scores, was it anything to do with the ground? Do you guys think it had anything to do with the slippery ground? When they shark every tap out? That is true. That is also true. Still worried about Bont. Yeah, I'm worried that if it was an option of going like Bont into Sherry, I would do that. But of course they play each other, so I can't do that. But the only option, you're probably right for me. The only option if I don't go there is, could I go Sherry into? I don't want to go into Dacos in case he gets the Sonotta tag, Shinotta, whatever his name is, Snotter, the Snotter tag. Not that he hasn't been able to break the tags lately, which is nice. Butters is against Brisbane, so I just think Brisbane have a lot of midfielders. They have enough midfielders that they could chuck someone on Butters and just say, hey, try and hold him back a little bit. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'd never go him as my captain. Not that you can do that, but I thinking vice captain is fine for a swing. It is against North Melbourne, and it was at the SCG. It was super slippery and wet. Maybe it's not really the ground and the performance that we're asking of. Maybe it's not really his ground. I think he's back undercover this week at Marvel, averaging 123, 157, 169. So there's some big scores. That's some big scores. I know it's hard not to try that as bias, right? It's hard. It's like I'm still divided. I still might have a swing with Gorn. A swing with the Bont. I think I'll be going. I think that's going to go with the pack a lot. I think more people are going to go Bont than Cherry. Matthew, you're thinking Vice Captain Holmes or Smith into Dawson. I think that's fair. Dawson's been playing very well. Who do they play? They play Melbourne. He should chew up their midfield and spit them out at home. Don't think, unless they decide to put Clayton Oliver to him or something like that. But even then, he's probably good enough to beat that. I think, yeah. How many trades you guys got left? Are you actually doing any trades this week, crew? You doing any trades this week? You got any trades left, or you being like me? I got 4. And even though there's one trade I would love to do, I'll show you the trade I would love to do. I'm not doing it, but I would love to give myself a bit of flexibility by like going trading the Taru kid. I would love to do this, but I'm not going to. And then go, oh, I can't do it that way. There's another way I could have done it. There was a way that I could get Nick Martin and use him as a swapsy, but it wasn't this way. It wasn't this way because that's obviously not enough money to get Nick Martin. Oh, I had it before. There's some way where I could do it, where I could afford to get Nick Martin. For 572, but it wasn't this way because I can't afford to do it this way. So no trades for Seano. 2 left, but you've got swing cover. I'm really, tell me if the teams come out, crew. If you notice the teams come out. I'm really worried about cover too. The only cover I've got at the moment is Johnson and Clark. Whitfield's out this week. Sheasel could potentially be a laid out. So, I'll have 2 rookies on the field if that happens. 2, I really hope injuries hold off for us, Paris. I think even at 4, I'm worried. Told people in my videos, I think you really should have 6 at this time of the season if you want a reasonable run to the end of the season. 2, I think you just need to pray that there's no injuries, and that you got to have decent cover as well. So, which is what I'm hoping. Going to have to hold anybody if they're only out for 1 to 2 weeks. Matthew, you're not trading this week. Running with 4 left, ranked at 238, so just sit out this week. Yeah, that's a nice ranking, buddy. Very nice. And yeah, I mean, if you can get away without trading with only 4s, I think it's definitely the way to go. Holmes could go nuclear. One of them's going to go nuclear. Smith or Holmes is going to go huge this week. It's going to be one or the other. Unless there's carnage and you have no choice. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there could be carnage this week, honestly. My scary thing for me is, what if Clark and Johnson are dropped and Whitfield and Sheasel are out? That'd be the worst case scenario for me. I mean, I will run with 22 this week if I have to. Say Clark, John, Sheasel doesn't play, and or say they both, say Sheasel doesn't play, I'll just have a 0 there and let Tom McCarthy cover it in flex and pray that shit doesn't go down. That's the kind of stage that I'm in. I think we're just going to have to deal with it and make sure we have 22 players on the field, not 23, but for me until at least 5 or 6 rounds out for the end of the season. So what are we at now? We're at round 17 and we've got 24 rounds. So until we get to round 19, 17, 18, 19, I really don't want to trade. So for 3 weeks, I don't want to trade. And then after that, we can have a look at it, especially coming into, really to the first week of the finals. Round 20, if I've got trades left in round 20, we could go for it. We could go for a potential 99k rookie down and try and get a valid, a 23rd swappy player which is going to cover me during the finals. Well, there are a lot of injuries, but they're all due to come back, mate. That's the problem. Paris, you're a Bombers man, right? They're all due to come back, and they're all due to come back this week. Like, look how many are due to come back. Sard, which will be good, hopefully he comes back, but you've got Ridley, Reed, both coming back. Redmond's only 1 week away. That's 3 defenders. 3 defenders. So we got to pray that Clark goes back to the... Reed's out. What, after this he's injured again? Since Tuesday? Since yesterday he's injured again? That's pretty rough on the poor bugger. Yesterday, oh God, the guy's held together with sticky tape. For the poor fella. We waited so long for him to play. He played a great start to the season, one of the best rookies we had, and now the poor bugger's been injured again. Oh, okay, so still Ridley. It's only Ridley coming back then, really, potentially this week. Redmond potentially next week. Maybe that gives Sard more of a chance to get a game, which will be nice. So, are the teams out yet? Nope. Let's have a look at your team, buddy. Let's have a look at your team while we got you here. Bayside, where are you? Here you are. Yeah, the good thing with Clark though, right? It might even benefit him, those other guys coming back, because he might get moved back to the wing, right? He's got these shit scores playing as like in defense as well, I don't want to say a key defender, but like a shutdown defender. So if he goes back to the wing and he can score another 3 goals like he did on his first game, that'd be awesome. And Johnson, well, maybe Johnson holds his midfield spot. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. I'm hoping Sheasel's going to play too. So let's have a look at how you're going, buddy. You got your Wangan and Malera, your Rosie, your Sinclair, your Mills, Zorko with McCarthy for cover, which you can be here or here. I know you got Merritt there, you got Butters, Brayshaw. So you got an extra primo. So you've got, what are you going to do with McCarthy? You're going to loophole him with someone, with like Sheasel? That's what I'm doing with my other team. With my other team, which is running a little bit better than this team, in the Real Dream team. I've got Sheasel on the bench, and I'm gonna loophole him with McCarthy, depending on his score in the first round. Is that your plan as well, or It's good. Yeah, you basically got 23 primos and cover with McCarthy, which is very nice. Paris, you're in a good spot. I'd say you're definitely going to move up. You don't have Whitfield, which is awesome. You know, so you're definitely going to start moving back up the Supercoach rankings, I would say now. I wouldn't be surprised if you were in backside. In backside? In backside? What the hell?
Me fail English? Me fail English? That's impossible.
That's impossible. Yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised if you were back inside the top 50, not the backside. In the backside, that's a bit rude. If you were back in the top 50, maybe one of the mids. Well, it's got to be an early game, right? So, I mean, you're probably not going to loop in with Bond. that seems a bit excessive. I mean, yeah, I think for me, when I looked at the other team, the best option I had. I'll quickly show you the other team. This is what I wish my team looked like, and what I hope it will look like next year. So this is the other team that I play, where we've got Holmes, Sheasel, Rosie, Clark, Sinclair and Mills. Then we've got Brayshaw, Sarong, Dawson, Dacos, Rowell, Liberatore, Butters, Bont, Gorn and Marshall. Oh no, I'm doing it with Daniel, Smith, McRae, Petrarca, Warner, Rackety, Horn Francis, McCarthy there, and I've got Daniel here who can loop on, which I'll be looping him on if I need to. So and I've still got 5 trades in this league. This league's a little bit easier because the money players cost more, but you get a bit more money to start off with. So it usually means you can probably get 1 extra primo. So I expect to have another primo probably back here for the end of the season, and hopefully next year that's what our Supercoach teams will look like. You'll have 1 extra primo here, which hopefully you can swap here, and 1 extra primo back here, which you can swap here. We probably won't have the luxury of having a Tom McCarthy though, so you might only be able to have 1 this year. We're a bit spoilt or saved. Sport or saved, I don't know which one it is by Tom McCarthy. I'm saying saved. Yeah, Dunkley and Merritt. Dunkley came back, got you a reasonable score though the week before, not last week, but the week before, 120. So he's not dead. Merritt, I mean, at least Dunkley still has that kind of. I mean, he has been playing a little bit out of position, right? But I mean, I think he's still more. You know, they're more going to play him as that inside midfielder. Merritt, who knows what's happening with Merritt, right? What's your coach doing down there? Who knows? Who knows what your coach is doing down there, to be honest? They do scare you, but I think you've just got to live with them now, and they could come good. I think every team's going to have. No team is going to be perfect. You know, and even, you know, there were so many players last week that just had bad games out of nowhere, like Shera and Brayshaw and Mills and Sheasel were just out of nowhere. Lions have so many mids too, and like this week, there's even a chance this week they make him play a little bit defensive against Butters. You know, maybe they say, hey, maybe you just, instead of going nuts and trying to get the ball, you just try and restrict Butters a little bit. Can you see your full team? There we go. Yeah, but I still like your team a lot more than I like my team. You've got basically 23 primos, even if the primos aren't performing at primo status, and you've got, you know, a Tom McCarthy to cover, or to just play on the bench to loophole. You're going to have that loophole every week pretty much option, which is going to make, if you're worried about Dunkley, use him as your loophole, or Merritt. I mean, it sounds crazy to use Merritt as your loophole if you can, with the fixture allows you to do that, but if you're that worried about him, you know. How many primos? I've only got 22 if you're not counting. I mean, I'm counting Doherty and Mills as primos, so that's the sad state of affairs that my team's in. So really only 22 and Tom McCarthy. So I don't have any coverage basically. I've got the 2 rookies. I've got no coverage in the forward line. It could be a complete disaster. At least you've got, you've got coverage, which is good. And with your 2 trades, you're just gonna have to ride it and cover where you can. So I'm hoping that I'm going to go up, but I can quite see myself dropping in score against people like yourself who have that option to loophole, who don't have McCarthy. Even though I think not having McCarthy on the field could be a problem for some people, where you got 23 primos and McCarthy. At the moment, McCarthy's outperforming a lot of your primos. What do? They could be stuck. At least I don't have a choice. I'm going to have to field McCarthy, and if he scores 150... well then, yay, I got him, and I didn't have any problem of like having to leave him on the bench. I don't think you could potentially leave McCarthy on the bench. I mean, you probably prefer, like I said, to leave some of these after that he scares you. Yeah. So like, you're going to have that decision every week. It's not a bad thing, but it's just whether the loophole. Who to loophole, which is actually, it's a nice place to be at, but McCarthy's throwing a spanner in the works, because you'd love to have you love a rookie that's performing that well, but at the same time, he's going to cause you some headaches on whether to field him or who to take off. But it's a good position to be in though. Any Kevin Primo, I mean, I think someone said he has to score 102 or 103 to go up the highest money ever, beating Goulden. Then if he gets like more than 100, I thought I heard another content creator, something like that. If he gets more than 102 or 103, he'll go up the most money ever in Supercoach for a rookie. And I mean, obviously then he must have had the massive break even, but as far as I can remember from my Supercoach history, this is the biggest break even that I remember. But obviously, it reminds me back to the Barlow days. Like, Barlow was an amazing Supercoach performer in his first year who just blew up. And whenever I think of a rookie that just went crazy in Supercoach, I always think of Michael Barlow for Freo. How was he rotting away Richmond VFL? Well, you would wonder that, wouldn't you? You were looking at Richmond's team and you were wondering how the hell didn't he get into Richmond? Like, if he was in Hawthorn's team, VFL team, or Collingwood's VFL team, maybe you could have seen that. But in Richmond's VFL team, surely he's a better player. Surely when Short got dropped, you could have brought him in. Imagine him instead of, we had Short at the beginning of the season who was very average. Imagine if he played in that position, Richmond. Surely that would have been done better for Richmond. Yeah, as a West Coast supporter, I have to admit I really like him. He just seems so clean. He just doesn't click clangers. Every time I watched him, I get the ball, I'm like, make sure you hit a player. He hits him on the chest, every single time. And then if it's can't hit someone on the chest, he puts it down on the line to a contest. He's not. But he doesn't do that very often, I have to admit. He doesn't go down the line to a contest too often. He usually always finds a player, which is nice. Which is kind of what we need, so that's really good. Playing VFL, probably quite a few I would think in the VFL. Mature age, there's always one story, or you get a couple of stories about these players who are mature age and come in the Eagles. I always remember Matt Prittis was mature, wasn't even drafted for a couple of drafts, and then came in and won a Brownlow, and when he retired he had the most tackles ever out of any AFL or player. I think that record's been surpassed now, but at the time he retired, that was his record. And he couldn't even get drafted. Missed, I think, 2 years in a row, he wasn't even drafted. Yeah, Nick Martin, how's that? I'd love to have Nick Martin in kind of like a swap. There was some way I worked out where I could do it, where I could make enough money to go from Sheasel to Nick Martin. And then I could, maybe I had to get rid of Sims to do it. And that way then I could have a swap. I'd only have 2 trays like you, but I would have a cover between, forward and well, forward and the back, which would have given me a lot of opportunity to, you know, get out of trouble if there's injuries or something. But I could do it, but I really don't want to go down to that many trades, you know. I got 4, which is not enough. I know you've got less, but for me, considering I want to win my league, 4 is not enough. There are going to be injuries. Just look at this week. Potentially, there could be 2 primos out. Like, we really hope that Sheasel plays, but there's no guarantee that Sheasel plays. And we know that Whitfield's out. So it would only take 1 more. Say there was a laid out to a, you know, any other primo, any other on-field player, I'm screwed. You know, Sheasel goes out, and then there's a laid out from Petrarca or Smith or someone. I'm just absolutely screwed. Holmes, well, the thing is, my back coverage is kind of okay because I got Sheasel to here. So, I mean, if you're going matchup, yeah, should probably get Holmes. But my team really needs some coverage for the forward line. I really need either a forward mid swap guy in here, which I can bring down, and like I could put Gross down here and then have a forward mid here, or that's why Nick Martin is so appealing. Not because I think he's the best option at the moment, but just because he could cover the forward line. Sub 400, we did have a look at our trade video, and the only one, I named 3 of mid prices, and they were, my mid prices were, one, I still think Bailey Smith is cheap. At 4, he's more than 400k. The only sub 400k one that maybe is super risky, but could, you know, Sam Flanders is the only one I can think of, and he's not exactly playing a role that I love, and he hasn't even scored 100. He's got 87, 91, so he's the only one. But at least, you know, even at 370, I think he's a bit expensive. I think you might be able to find a better pick. But if his role could change somehow, I think it could be okay. But I don't love it. I don't know of anyone less than 400 who I don't think there's any fallen primos less than 400 worthwhile. Let's go between 250 and 400. Slalom, Gunston, Flynn, Rioli, Dan Houston, right on 400, hasn't really been scoring. Jeremy Cameron's a key forward, so I'd probably just stay away from that. But yeah, if you were desperate, I mean, you could go back, you could try Toby Green again, even though I tried him and it failed and I wasted. I mean, I think your more choices around that 450 mark. I think that's going to be, you know, the ones like when Jason Hall-Francis dropped down. I think the 450 players are going to be a little bit more. I can't see anybody there who I think can score even reasonably well. Sean Darcy as a ruck, and we know what Sean Darcy can do. 360 for a ruck. If you were desperate and you only had 370k, you could probably go Sean Darcy, but he would, you know, he's going to get injured or fall apart though. He might get a look as a loop. Well, we don't do it. You recommended him to me. I got him, and he was just terrible. But I know some other content creators are considering him. I think Rookie Coach is considering him, and he could get you 100. Let's have a look. He could get you 100 on a good day. That's if he doesn't try and karate kick somebody in the head. I'm surprised. The season's over halfway gone and he hasn't karate kicked anybody in the head yet this season. So good on you, Toby Green. You've controlled yourself for one season. So he's 350 at the moment. Oh, he got 111 in his last game. He's got a break even of 89. So that's probably what he will score. And he'll be at 346. So he's at 340. So it'll be the last week you get him for that price. But I think I bought him in here when he got 57. He got 57, he got 8, and then I traded him out. So he's still only got, I mean, he can score 100, but as cover, seems fine. when he wasn't in your team. Of course he did. Of course he did. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? But I think the more valued players, which when I eventually do my try and get an extra player in the team, are going to be closer to, the 450 to 500. Like Jack McRae, if I could afford to get him there. Who else? Like, there's going to be a few. I mean, even in my other team, I got LDU as cover on the bench for a loophole option. We got rid of Matt Roberts last week, which was a good trade out. That was a good trade out. I heard Josh Kelly could potentially going to play this week, which might mean Ralston might have an issue. Yeah, Jordan Clark is, he was in my, and he's still kind of a pod, Jordan Clark. With my trade videos, we kind of divided it up into the run-of-the-mill, like people owned over by 25%, under 25. If you want to do a pod, or if you wanted to do a primo, one that the pack has. And Jordan Clark is still only about less than 15% still own him, which is makes a nice pot if you were getting him. And he just seems to be everywhere, you know. He's like, whenever it's not Brayshaw or Sarong, it's Clark. He just always seems to be there. You're right. So there are some players, like, I think Jason Hall-Francis will be pretty damn cheap in a week or two. You know, he could be the one that I'm like, you know, let him shoulder get better, let him play forward for a couple of weeks, and then by the time 19-20 comes around, it might be a time for me to jump on Jason Hall-Francis at about 450k, hopefully. Hardly ever on the bench. Yeah, you always like those players in the which I think Tom McCarthy was a bit like that as well when he played for the Eagles. He didn't go to the bench. He just played. They just hang out, have a rest in the back line for a little bit. Yeah, you're safe to get Green now because he's no longer in my team, Paris. He can go down at any time. He can also score 150 on his good game. So I won't be doing it this round. He'll be one of those last 4 round picks for me if I decide to go with him. If there's nobody else, who I really like. Josh Kelly just hasn't had the season, has he? Certainly he didn't play. Oh, he did play. Oh, I thought he didn't play. So Ralston's position is probably safe, considering he played. God, he just hasn't. Remember how good Josh Kelly used to be? He's just not getting the time there anymore. Why didn't you trade in Whitfield? Is this a joke? Knock knock. Who's Whitfield? He is very injury. Well, no, he's concussion prone. But why didn't you trade in Whitfield? Yeah, Matthew, you said you think Clark will be fine too. Well, it's good to hear that I don't know who you support, Matthew, but I know Paris is a Bombers boy. I hope Clark and Johnson are okay. I hope Clark and Johnson really hold their position. He burnt you with a concussion. He burnt you. He was on your never again list. Do I have a never again list? Who I would get, who I wouldn't get again? I mean, Tom Stewart's kind of on my never again list. He's burnt me. He burnt me in years past, and I didn't get him at all this year, no matter how good value he was, just because he was on my never again list. You support the Tigers, Matthew? Nice. Well, you know. Neil and Dunkley are on your never again list. I certainly think it's hard with the Taggers. Like, it even last week, like, there was all this talk about Windhager tagging, and he didn't even tag last week. So, I mean, I don't know. If Dunkley is under 500k at the beginning of next year, or this same price, I don't know if I can resist that. Same if Neil. If at the beginning of Supercoach next year, if Neil's 480k, I mean, I don't know if I can resist that. I might just cop it. I might really have to do it, just cop it. Neil will absolutely never be brought in again. I think, honestly, if Dunkley was 499k at the beginning of next season, I would think I would just pick him and I would just ride it. I just ride the roller coaster. I mean, he hasn't been that. He's had a few bad games, but until round 10, he was pretty fucking good. Like 170, 117, 105, 140. And then he had 88, 83, okay. 100, 109, 139, 110. If you told me I was going to pay 500k for a player that did that, I'd get him every day of the week. Then the 72, 120, 76, 126. If you could make those 72s 90, 92 and 96, you'd probably go say okay. He limps. He is always on the bench. I don't know what the deal is there. Roller coaster ride. He is. I mean, that first half of the season wasn't bad though, right? Depending on what price you're paying for him, I guess you wouldn't want to pay up for him again. And same with Neil. I wouldn't be paying 600k for Neil or 580k or whatever. But if you said, here's Lockie Neil at 480k, you know, where next year it's going to be really about value in my starting team, you know, I might just jump on them, even though I know that could be a bit of a roller coaster ride. And then hopefully the highs of the roller coaster happen a few weeks in a row, and that could make you enough money to jump up to somebody who's, you know, maybe if a Butters or a Bonta blow up at the end of the season, they're back to like, you know, 650, 700k at the beginning of next season. You might not be able to afford both of them, or, you know, or Cherry and Gawn. I mean, kind of in a selfish kind of mode. I know it'll destroy my team, but I kind of hope some of these players have a bit of a bad run. I hope that Sherry has a bad run or Gawn has a bad run, because then we at least can pick him up at the end of the season, right? Maybe not right now, but maybe the last 4 weeks, Sherry only gets like 80s for the last 4 weeks. Gawn only gets 80s, Bont only gets 80s, and Butters only gets 80s. To wishful thinking. Yeah, you know, I mean, the only way you would make that is with great captain choices which are different to his. Paris, I would say. And even then you're probably not, because there's going to be a lot of people in the middle of them, but top 50 I think is doable, and if your loophole works for you each week, I think that could help you a lot. There's a lot of those teams ahead of you. There's no guarantee that they're going to have that extra primo and that loophole option like you do. So if you play that well and pick your captains well, I think you can definitely make top 50. Yeah, first is probably, you know, you never know, but it's probably a bit of a struggle. I mean, the Whitfield's the same though, right? Imagine, so Whitfield, if he keeps his current form, you know, or say, you know, if he comes back for 1 week or something and then gets injured again and he's out for the rest of the season, he could be, you know, he might be less than 500k next year. Could you turn away Whitfield at 500k at 490k? I don't know if I can. Next year, when it's going to be all about value, you're probably going to see, I'm going to be here doing my streams or my videos. I'm going to be like, I've got Whitfield and I've got Sheasel and I've got all these players in my team. It's going to be a rough watch at the beginning of the season. I think Whitfield is great. I think Whitfield in that position, in the Seagull backline position, is awesome. That is correct. But this, I mean, how's he gone this year? How's he really gone for? So look at this: first 8 rounds, which we can see here, I mean, it's not bad. 111, 128, 109, 184, then at 86, 145, 104, 111, 116, 109, and at 82. 116, 84, 140, and 16. So his floor is quite high, really. It's an 80, which is, you know, it's not like Bont just giving us 260s this year. I mean, come on. So, I mean, how much is he going to go down? Wow. If he gets a 90, he's going to be 480k. Holy cheaper moly. Yeah, so I think that's been a real killer this year, right? The role change and like a lot of these players, when we picked Harry Sheezel, if he stayed in that back role, he'd still be an awesome pick. I mean, what was his start when he was playing this little section here where he played the back role? 144, 102, 86, 135, 120, 100, you know? Maybe that 137 could have been the back role as well. I mean, between the round 3 disasters with rookies and the sub-rule disasters with rookies and the role changes of Sheezel, Merritt, who else has had a shit, you know? There's been a few others, like Daniel has been, he's been back there most of the time. Warner has been a bit in and out of the mid. Rankinine's been a bit out of the mids. Yeah, I definitely made some very major mistakes with trading this year. Just didn't hold, even though, I mean, it worked and it didn't work. Like the Jason Horne-Francis trade out for me now seems kind of good, right? I didn't hold him, but if I had held him, he basically, you know, got injured, was out. People held him. He came back. He did okay, and then he's got injured again, and he delivered a couple of low scores. So the actual trade out of Horne-Francis is not too bad. And Finn Callahan, kind of the same. He was good, and then he got injured, and I traded him out. He came back. He was good again, and then he's had a few down games as well. The only one I really wish I hadn't traded was McRae. But maybe I could have kept the others and still had that extra primo. Like maybe Horne-Francis could have been my, on the side, you know, my 23rd or 24th primo, which could have been fine. Yeah, I think next year though, and I think just starting with those a few too many mid prices last year, I think next year, if we want to talk about next year, I want to talk about next year. I've written off this year, but I want to talk about next year. Lot more guns and rookies. If you're going to, instead of a mid-pricer, I'm going to get a 200k rookie. You know, I'll get the higher priced first draft pick rookies that are going to play. If they fail, like the Finn O'Callaghan did this year, you can go down to a cheaper rookie. Yeah, I think instead of getting a shitload of mid-pricers, we'll just say one in each line, you know, maybe in the midfield, maybe 2, and then just guns and rookies. What was my round went? My round?
Me fail English? Me fail English? That's impossible.
Me fail English? That's impossible. So, if we have a look at the history, Seano's history, which we can do by going to player research. No, how do I history? Here we go. So I came out. I was in 12,000 first rank. Fell to overall 12,000, 14,000, and then straight down to 3,000. So I had a really good beginning of the season. My team. Literally the first 3 rounds, I scored more. Oh, that's because there's less teams in those buys. But so I was top 5,000 by the time of the 3rd round. So this looked good. Then I had a bit of a stinker and went to 8,000, 8,000, 8,900, 6,500, 6,200, and then I had a bit of a run. Then I had a run of 2,400 scores, which was basically because of Gorn's captain's score pretty much. When we went down to 3,500, 4,000, 2,360, which was my lowest overall ranking for the year. And then ever since then, it's been disaster. Then we went to 5,100, 6,007, 8,006, 10,001, 10,007, and then back to 10,080. So, you know, I'm actually not far away. If you take out the first 2 games, once the actual season starts proper, I'm at my worst ranking for the entire season at the moment, which is kind of sad. You want to go the other way. You want to go the other way, right? You don't want to be going, and I wouldn't be surprised with the state of my team and the lack of cover that if I drag away, like I always say though, top US 33k. The first 3 matches don't make any difference though, because like the difference between, you know, 12,000 and 33k, it could be 100 points in the first round, you know, and the same with the second and the same with the third. It's not really till you start getting, especially, and then when we had all these stupid buy rounds, so it wasn't really till the buy rounds finished where we got to 6,000 here, where we really got an indication of how our team was going. I think there was buys in round 5 as well, was there? Maybe not. Maybe 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. So I think until those original buys finished, wherever that was, that's a real indication of where my team stood against other people's. Like 6,500 is probably about where my team deserved to be coming out of the buys, between 9,000 and 6,000. And then we've made we had some good captains, some really good captain scores by Gorn, and then we made some bad decision by trades, and things have gone wrong. So things have gone disaster, and things really went. I do believe I was quite unlucky in the buys. I had a lot of primos in every round during the buys, more than a lot of other people, and they just didn't perform. Which, you know, we can cry over spilled milk or whatever we like, but you know, that's the fact of the matter, that my team through the buys looked a lot better than a lot of other people. Yeah, I heard that, Paris. That's a shame. The Godfather's hanging up in the boots. I mean, this is the first year I've been watching other content creators, so I really enjoy his videos. I'm not too sure why he would hang up the boots. Like, season's not over yet. I know he's had a rough season, but you know, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to keep doing this year after year, crew, so I hope you guys and girls keep hanging out with me. But if I have a shit season and I'm rated at 30 or 40,000, I'm gonna still create content. You can all laugh at me at how bad my season's going. I'm certainly not going to just stop in the middle of the season if I've had a bad season. But the thing I do love about the Godfather is that he's helped so many other streamers. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine that he's probably a big soccer. He's a big soccer fan, I would imagine. So, I mean, honestly, I couldn't give a. I lived in England for a year. I lived in London for a year, but I couldn't give a rat's about soccer. And since I'm from Perth, I refuse to call it football. You know, when I lived in London, I called it football. If you live here in Perth, Australia, you call it soccer. That's what it is. You do what the locals do. Yeah, I don't know. So that holds no interest to me. I did my first NBL fantasy last year. I don't mind a little bit of NBL, but I don't watch it enough to really know who the players are. I just kind of watch the Wildcats a little bit and go to the occasional game. But yeah, the EPL is no interest. I looked at this the other year, the other week. Let's see, 20. So I had one year where I was. So yeah, last year we finished in 24,000. So last year and the year before that were two very disappointing years for me. So the year before was 45,000, which I think is my worst year ever. we had a really bad year. So this year we finished in 1,182 and we got as low as 190. So this is one of my better years. I was in round 16, we're at 190, and we ended up finishing in 1,183. So I think this is my best year. I think that's my best year. But a lot of 52, that might have been COVID. The COVID years were pretty average too. This year, 4,000, so not too bad. 33,000, so I've had some pretty rough years pretty much. 1,600 this year, so that's another good year. This year we got as high as rank 146. That could be my highest rank ever. 146 in this year in round 9. To rank 2,300 in this year. 16,000 in that year. 10,000 in that year. Way back to the start, 2017 when we finished 2,300. So, yeah, so I don't think that's too bad. You're not going to have a good year every year. That's what I'm saying. Like, as a content creator, if we have a shit year next year, I'll still do it, content. You know, might be in a shitty mood every second or third week, but we'll still do content, and at least it'll be nice to have a chat to you guys, and maybe you guys who are doing really well, like you, Matthew and Paris, will be able to help me out with my team, and try and help me move up in the world of Supercoach in the years to come. But so I've had a few good years. Like, what was that? 146 is the highest ranking I've ever been during a season. And I think I'm learning though. I really think this year, especially being content creator with you guys, hanging out with you guys, it's teaching me a lot. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be a better player coming next year, coming out of this year. Just to know, you know, picking the value players, not going with my heart. If Bont's, I don't give a shit how much. If Bont is 700k next year and he doesn't play the first game, if he plays the first game and you buy him as your one captain choice primo, whatever, but I'm not getting them. I'm going to wait. Every single player has gone down. I don't know, you guys, if you guys can tell me one player that's gone up in price and hasn't come down, you let me know, because this year, even the biggest players, like even the Gorns and stuff of the world, they've all come down in price. Like, Gorn might be the only one that's actually gone down to less. He started at 668 and he's at 654. He's about the only one. Rao went right down to 450k. Rao was dirt cheap when I got him. So he started at 550 and he got as low as 464. So, you know, and that's what I mean. Like, I don't expect the primos like Bonds and stuff to get down to 450, but I expect them to come down to this 550 now. I've seen it. There's only one that hasn't, is Gorn. He's the only one. And maybe Bailey Smith. Bailey Smith started it, but he started low and just went up. He hasn't come down, but he started at low. So Grundy had a shit start to the season as well, didn't he? Grundy was a lot. He certainly wasn't 700k at the beginning of the season. What's going on here? Why can't we see Grundy? What is going on? What am I missing something here? Am I missing some spelling or something? So Grundy was as low as 504k. 504k in round 9, and now he's worth 700k. So nobody, don't matter what your name is worth paying up. Like, as if you're not including him as your captain choice, like in your starting team, I'll probably still start a couple of like 600k players, whether it be a Butters or whatever. But there'll only be one or two. There'll be like one ruckman, one midfielder who's 600k. There'll be my two captain choices. Everybody else will be 550 or around there or less. I mean, like if Bont's 560, we'll go okay. But, you know, if someone, if Bont's 590, 600, we'll say, well, we might just, you know, fade him and get him when he gets to 550. Especially if they're really expensive. Like I bought Sherry for 680. There was no need to do that. He got down as low as 550 as well. So, you know, there's no need. And I paid 680 for Bont, and there was just no need to do that. They've all come down. And so next year, that's what we're going to do. We'll just buy players cheaper. Hopefully we'll have extra primos by the end of the season. And if that means we miss a Bont, but we've got 2 extra primos, you know, they should make up for it. There's lots that are currently higher than their starting price. But I mean, there's no one that's it hasn't gone up right up the top to like 650 or 600 plus and then it's dropped down. Like there's no one who's been higher than 600 and hasn't been lower than 600 at some stage. Gorn is the only one who's been above 600 the entire season. There's not another player playing who's been above 600 the entire season from start to now. So one player in the entire league. So that just shows me that, you know, I've learnt my lesson, or hopefully I've learnt my lesson. We'll see when I pick my team next year if we'll learn our lesson. But I'm saying I've learnt my lesson. Oh, go away. Rao was at 550, so he's gone up above it, but he started high. Like he would have been a decent starting pick, Rao. He went all the way down, but as long as you didn't sell him, and he went all the way back up. We constantly learn lessons. Hopefully, Seano can be a bit thick when it comes to learning his lesson. So we wrote down the rules. Hopefully you guys will join me next year, and we can, when we do the starting teams, and we can really have a good think about it. I think I'm going to go Moneyball style. It wasn't a bad move. No, it was a bad move, Paris. Getting him in at 560 was a bad move. If I didn't do that, I would have enough money to have a 23rd primo. So it is a bad move. And I could have bought Bont now, and I could have had another primo on the sidelines. So it was a bad move. He had a high break even. He was coming into his buy. It was a bad move. It wasn't a good move. There was so much other options I could have had. I could have had a Tom Green or someone here. I would have scored more. I would have had an extra primo. I would have had enough money for an extra primo. And the same goes with Sherry, and the same goes. Who else did we do? We did with Sinclair. We bought Sinclair at 590. We paid 600k for Zorko at the beginning of the season. You know, there's just too many of those players. There's a difference between me having a 23rd or 24th primo and not having a 23rd or 24th primo. So, got to learn those lessons for next year. If he averages 120, well, that doesn't matter then. He's not going down, he's not going up. If he does what Gorn does and holds his price, oh, well, you just get him later on. You know, you just have to pay up for him later on. But as I said, if I had Tom Green and somebody else, even if he's getting 120, Tom Green and somebody else outscores the one Bont. You know, if I've got 2 primos or 2, you know, reasonably primos that I could afford just because I didn't pay that extra 100 or 150k for Bont, they'll outscore Bont. And that's the whole, you know, the movie Moneyball, which is based on that American baseball team. It's got Brad Pitt in it. And he basically, he doesn't give a shit about the name of the players or how good the player is. He gets the money of the team, and he gets the average. He buys the players that have, you know, the best average for their position, and he goes on to win almost win the league with it. And that's how Supercoach should be played. That's how the winners play, and that's how I really would like to play next year. The good thing, Bont might only be 550 next year. Then he's a valid... Anything under 600k, like Bont is a valid starting pick. And same with Butters is a valid starting pick. So, you know, these ones that can put out the big, massive scores, But I'm still, if Bont scores 150 every week from now on and he's 700k, I just probably, he's either the number one midfielder in my team and that's it, or he's not. It's more like, I'm thinking more, it's not so much your starting team. Even you can have a couple in your starting team. You probably need a couple as your captain choices. It's more as you go along during the season. Like if we didn't have Butters and Bont at the beginning of the season, and so you can afford to wait and see if they've come down and pick the better value pick. And the difference between Bont scoring 120 every week and someone like a Tom Green, who might score 115 every week or 110, the money is worth more than those few points. Bont scoring 100 is overpaying at 560. Maybe not. Maybe, yeah, I'd say if I'm paying 560 for a player, I want a 105 plus average. That's what I expect. If I pay 550 for a player, I expect a 105 plus average, which if we look at my team so far this year, yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Matthew. Do I go, this is the choice. Is it Sherry or is it Bont? Sherry hasn't exactly been lighting the house on fire, but he looks like it every week. He literally, piles all the wood up against the house, chucks the match on it, but then at halftime he forgets to throw the petrol on, to blow the place up. He just kind of burns it, and then it kind of turns into a bit of, chars the outside of the house, and then that's it. Don't know if that's a good comparison, but bit of arson comparison. But, this week I looked at it again. He was on 50 points at quarter time. I'm like, oh, here we go. He's going to get a good score. And he just didn't go through. Was it... Okay, I asked this at the beginning, guys. Did you watch this game? Did it have anything to do with the ground? The ground was really slippery and wet, and it was the SCG. Were they slipping and falling all over the place? Can you not go for a tackle? Because if you go for a tackle on a really slippery, wet ground, you just got to slide into them and give away a free kick, right? Or you're going to kill yourself. But then Darcy had, 60 points at half time. Like, is that the reason Mills, Bont, Libba... I mean, I know SCG is not a great ground for scoring big scores because it's tight. There's not much room. But was it the ground that had anything to do with it? I heard somewhere they asked Freo if they potentially wanted to play somewhere else next week. It is Freo, right? Sydney play. I don't know if, yeah, they went to somebody that was in there was a news article, something about saying Fraser and Heaney had no issue. Yeah, okay. So I gave him a break. I didn't give Mills or Bont the joker of my team in my video for my review video just because of the ground, but maybe Bont should have got the joker of the team for the second time. That would have been 2 jokers for Bont in 1 year. That's unheard of. And Richards was tagged. What about Libba? Why Libba had a shit score too? They all had shit scores. Like, except, let's have a look at the game. Gordon's an interesting one. There's his heat map. Love this new heat map in fan footy. But didn't do any CBAs. Pretty sure he had bugger all CBAs, so he kind of played a wing role. A lot of people are jumping him on. A lot of people are jumping him on.
Me fail English? That's impossible.
That's impossible. A lot of people are jumping on Gordon this week. What do you guys think about that? I didn't see the game either. I had it on in the background, but I was doing other shit. But so he had 12% CBAs, Gordon. So he's playing a real wingy type role. But he kicked 3 goals. He's not going to kick 3 goals every game, but I do love... If they had him as an inside midfielder, He'd be one of my number one picks. But even at this position, he still scored a massive score. Like, you know, racked up touches in the third quarter, especially 30 possessions, 6 marks, 7 tackles, helped out by 3 free kicks, 4. Started on the wing. He didn't kick any goals. I thought he kicked 3 goals, but maybe it's just the 3 free kicks. No, he didn't kick goals. Well, he is a perfect pod because I think he's owned by less than 2%, but he's in one of the highest, people are getting him in, like 3rd highest trade-ins this week. Still only 2,700 teams out of 880,000, but, you know, he would be a very good point of difference. I'd still prefer it if he was playing in the guts than on the wing. It just scares me when people play on the wing. But it does help, though. I really thought he had 3 goals, but he had no goals. And you know he can kick goals. The man can kick goals. He is a goal-kicking midfielder at every day of the week. .40 metres away to chest. He's a quality player. He could literally be one of the first picked next year. How good was he last year? He was so good. The scores. Let's just have a let's have a look at what he scored. Not so much this year, but last year. So this year he's been 95 and 146. Okay, that's pretty fucking good. That's good for 2 scores this year. You'll take that. Let's look at last year. So 177, 109, 149, 73, 129, 98, 114. He's got a few 90s in there, but there were the end of the season though. Wow, 157, 106, 151, 95, 85, 142, 108. He has a very high ceiling. And his floor, besides those couple of 70s there, his floor seems pretty good. So get the ball target. Well, yeah, the wing, it does still matter a little bit because if the ball's always on the other side, you know, he's not going to get the ball. But if they are looking for, that's a lot of possessions for someone who's playing on a wing. It's a lot. And he is right there. It looks like he's just running straight from the wing position into the middle. He's just running his guts out from his position straight off the square probably sitting just outside the square here, going straight in to join the midfielders. So it is a good position. He's almost playing probably closer to being midfielder than a wing. Joel Frazier, the Fridge, he's the one who kicked the goal. He got 4 goals. I knew one of them got a heap of goals. 151, Jesus. And he's playing starting a halfback and switch to forward. It's a big score from him. They look for him. I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. Some big scores for a losing team there. Like Brody, Goulden, Heaney, all had really big scores. Chad Warner, I think he had a little bit more time CBAs, which is nice. Ballydale stopped in the 3rd quarter. Ground didn't affect Heaney. It didn't seem to affect a few of them. It didn't affect Fraser, didn't affect Heaney, didn't affect Goulden. So, yeah, I mean, what's your fucking story, Bont? Leading inside midfield and resting forward. I mean, what's your fucking story? And Tom Liberatore, pure midfield, where he loves to play. Gave away 3 free kicks. Shit efficiency. Bont's efficiency was pretty shit as well. Warner, too many turnovers, 3 clangers for him. 12 contested possessions though. I like the fact that said he played more. Said he played more in the midfield. Let's have a look and see if his CBAs were up. $59, yeah, about close to 10 to 20% up on what it has been the last 3 weeks. So that's a good sign though. It means he could potentially get a big score. It's still not at the 70, 61%, 70%. It could be a little bit more, but it still means he could potentially get a big score. Yeah, if he cleans it up a little bit, if he cleans it up, you know, can potentially get a little bit better score. Goulden 12%. Unless they start running Goulden more through there. Kicks at half time and the end of the game, yeah, like pretty much just stopped, right? You looked amazing, nice. Might be, well, he's not going to be cheap anymore if he keeps getting smashing bloody 150s every week, is he? God, can you guys hear that? That's my stomach growling. Fucking hell. Stomach's like eating itself. Yeah, Marvel, I'm expecting all the Bulldogs to go well at Marvel, under the roof. They got no excuse not to go. Dale, Bont, Darcy, all to go well. You know, the only problem is if the ball is never down if it never makes it to the Bulldogs defense while they slaughter North, he might be a bit starved for possession. But I'd still assume a decent score out of him. This is the only thing. A lot of people are really, like, a lot of people are saying, pick Whitfield again. If Whitfield was playing, pick Whitfield against West Coast. Well, what happens if the ball never goes down back line? Which is kind of what happened when Carlton, when Carlton was flogging us and we had Marek in the team, and people were like, Marek's not going very good. That's because the ball never went down there. The ball spent the first half in Carlton's forward line when we played them. And then, so sometimes I think picking these back players against the really bad teams, especially for captain choices, is not the best idea. Just because in an absolute slaughter, the ball doesn't see as much. You know, if it spends 60 to 70% of time in the other team's forward line, they're just not going to get enough of it. Yeah, did someone say that somebody went to him? Did someone say that somebody went to him after half time? I heard that too. Yeah, it doesn't say anything there, but possibly. Richards, yeah, could be. He didn't have a great game either, did he? None of their potentially gun midfielders had a great game. He had a lock on him. He had the James Jordan tag, so you know he gets forgiven because he has a tag, even though 66 is still pretty bad for a tag. But Ed Richards could be, you know, I don't know if teams must be out. Teams must be out. I got a green tick. Yeah, he has an excuse though. All right, let's have a look. All right, so in for North, we got Cooper Harvey, Will Phillips, Bailey Scott, Zane Dursma, Finn Malley, out Fisher, Darling, Wardlaw, Luke Parker, and McDonald. That's a lot of changes. Bulldogs have got DeRay, Taylor, Riley, and Caleb all come in. Sam Davison's out with illness. Harms' illness, or what's going on down there? They got a bit of there must be a flu or COVID or something going around in Bulldogs. Oh no, still two. I thought he was illness then for a second as well, but two illnesses. I hope there's not like something going around down there. That might not help them too much. Who named on the bench? Caulfield, who we always thought was going to be a good Supercoach rookie. It never really paid off for us. Let's go. So all looks good. Followers, Bont and Lib is named as your followers. Ed Richards is named in the centre. So no real big surprises there. What about Sheasel's named in the centre as a follower? Please play him as a fucking follower. He can't play. This is true. Well, he can't play at all with COVID, so that would be worse. That'd be worse for my team. He wouldn't be able to play at all. But if they've got the flu or something, it might not help them. Please just let Sheasel fucking attend all the centre bounces and follow the ball around. Just let him do it. Caleb Daniel named in the back line. That's good. Where where is our Kobe McKercher named on a wing? No, named as a half forward. But they've named him as a half forward every fucking week and then played him in defence. So why not just name him in defence, you useless bastards down there at North? Why not just name him where you play him every single week? Why name him at half forward? Like, yeah, Matthew. Why name him at half forward? He hasn't played at half forward once since he was named at half forward. Just put him like Finn O'Sullivan. Put him on the bench. Put McKercher back there. No, who'd you bring in? You brought in Will. Who else did you bring in? I mean, Riley Hardman. Put him on the bench or something. But obviously, just name him. Just name him in the position that you intend to play them in. And then if shit goes wrong and there's an injury and you need to put him to half forward, so be it. But just for us. For the fans, for the Supercoach, people out there, just name them where you're going to play them. What's the use of putting out team sheets if you don't fucking name them in the spot that they're going to be in? So frustrating. Coaches are so frustrating. They literally are. They're more frustrating than the players. Surprised Vossi made it through this week with Carlton. They're calling for his blood down there. Any interesting stuff? Enjoy stuffing up Supercoach. I like a lot of coaches do. Like, I mean, Brad Scott, the Scott brothers are great at doing it. Yeah, Paris, I think they do try and throw them off, which is... So, it's only going to take 5 seconds for the other coach to go, Well, even then, wouldn't you know, you've just watched every single, you've got people who watch the matches. They come to you and they say, Kobe McKercher's named in the half forward line. You're like, yeah, but he's named in the half forward line every week and he plays at half back. And they're like, well, we could have 2 players ready for him. If he plays a half back, this person's going to be on him. If he plays a half forward, this person's going to be on him. It's not rocket science. How confusing could it be? Even if the game starts and someone's like, oh shit, they've put someone forward. They're playing Bont at full forward. We need someone to cover him. Like, yeah, you get a magnet and you go, oh, we moved this magnet to there. Oh, look, it took 2 seconds. So why not for the community? They don't give a shit about, just like the AFL in general, they don't give a shit about the fans. And who are bigger fans than Supercoach players? Let's be honest. Who would watch, who's out there watching as many games as they can? Who's out there, attending as many games as they can? Who's out there reading all the articles on the AFL website? It's the Supercoach players and the fantasy players. We're the ones that are most invested in AFL seasons. And so, there's 180,000 people there who are full-on footy nuts. And they really just don't give a shit about them. Sheasel's named, which is nice. Sheasel is named, which is nice for he's not left out. Just hope he's not a laid out. So no real disasters there, no real disasters. So that's good so far, unless they do laid out him, which is all Bont all of a sudden catches whatever everybody else has. Not my luck. Shees will be laid out and Bont will be laid out because he catches whatever the other 2 guys have got. Or Dale. That'd screw me. Even worse would be Dale. If Dale was a laid out, that'd be lights out. That'd be lights out. Yeah, so I think we'll go live again tomorrow, crew. If you're around, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're watching and you haven't already subscribed, or if you're watching in the future. Yeah, don't forget to like this live video. We'll probably go live again with a pre-Thursday night game tomorrow night. Bit of a hype up before the game. Bit of a shoot the shit. See who's around and see who wants to chat. We went through quite a bit today. Done and done? Yeah, it would be done. It'd be all over done if you're talking about those guys. Yeah, I think we'll call that it for the day, crew. We've had a good chat with Paris and Matthew. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you. You're the gun buddy. Good luck with your teams, guys. I hope you both start firing up the ranks, you know, charging up those ranks in the next few weeks. I'm sure I'll chat to you, both of you, you know, if not tomorrow, within the next couple of weeks, and keep letting me know. I love it when you guys shoot me a message on my videos and let me know how you gun. How you gun? Oh, I'll get one more before we go.
Me fail English?
That's impossible. Yeah, like it when I get the messages to let me know how you guys went, and yeah, it's always something I look forward to, is seeing that little message button on my YouTube videos to see what's going on. So yeah, you guys have and everybody else out there watching, have a awesome day. If you want to drop by and have a pre-game chat tomorrow before the game, please do. And otherwise, I'll speak to you all again soon. Have a good one.